Well, good evening. Wow, that was a long introduction. Did you notice that Corey Burton and I are wearing the same clothes, the same shirt and pants, practically? But yes, we are here to pay tribute to Daws Butler. We have with us a great panel. Daws Butler, as you know, was the voice of Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Quick Draw McGraw, Baba Louie, Elroy Jetson, Wally Gator, Hokey Wolf, Snagglepuss, Captain Crunch. We could probably fill an hour just giving the characters that he did. But he was also a prolific writer. And this is something that a lot of people don't know about unless they had the privilege of knowing him or working with him or attending his acting workshop. From about 1974-75-ish, he started an acting workshop out of his converted studio garage. And he wrote these amazing scripts for that. And I'm going to let Corey a little bit later talk a little bit about it, because Corey wrote the foreword to the book of some of the scripts that we chose for this first book, and we're hoping to do more. And in the foreword, Corey does quite an excellent job of describing not only what those scripts were like, but also what the workshop environment it was like, and it brought me back to it. It was just so marvelous. Daws wrote and co-wrote with Stan Freberg and a guy named Charlie Shows many of the Time for Beanie episodes that eventually became Beanie and Cecil, and he wrote and co-wrote with Stan Freberg many of his earliest comedy records, including St. George and the Dragnet, which featured Stan and Daws and June Foray, who we have here with us tonight. So Daws had been writing these things for so many years. Now to the panel, we have with us Corey Burton, who was a student of Daws Butler. And he'll tell us a little bit about how he became a student of Daws Butler in just a moment. Corey was recently the voice of Captain Hook in Return to Neverland. He's done many, many things. He's the voice of Old Navy now, I believe, on television. And he has done voices for the Justice League, Batman Beyond, Disney's House of Mouse, and many other things. And we have June Foray with us. Now, June, of course, was not officially a student of Daws except through osmosis of sitting next to him so many years, and I think Daws probably learned as much from her. But we know, of course, June as the voice of Rocky J. Squirrel, Natasha, Granny from the Sylvester and Tweety cartoons, and many of the Disney films, and she's just so many,
Witch Hazel.
Things. Witch Hazel, yes. The Chuck Jones cartoons, Witch Hazel. We're really excited to have June with us. And then, last but not least, Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson, Ralph Wiggum, Nelson on The Simpsons. She's also Rufus the Naked Mole Rat on Kim Possible, and Chucky on Rugrats, among many, many other voices. And she was also a student of Daws Butler. So we're just going to go into this and kind of wing this thing. I guess we should start with Corey, since he's sitting right next to me. And why don't you tell us how you met Daws Butler?
Well, I met Daws Butler. Well, it's all in the book, but anyhow, because
forget it. Don't say anything. You got to read the book.
Yes, really. But in very brief, my uncle had known June Foray, and one day I was watching a Bullwinkle show with the family, and the credits came up, and I saw the name June Foray. I was like, oh, June Foray! Did you know that she does every single female voice on those shows, and the kid voices is fantastic, and she's Rocky, and she's Natasha, and my mom said, oh, your uncle knows her. And I said, he does not. And I asked him, I said, oh, sure, June's great. I don't know, maybe you want to talk to her? And I said, oh, yeah, I'd love to meet her and find out about these great voice people. So she consented to allow me to bug her by telephone at first.
And then at home.
Yes, yes. And eventually allowed myself and a friend to attend a recording session, which was the We'll Get You to Bed by Midnight Theater. And there I met Daws Butler and June Foray in the flesh. for the first time. And, and the rest is history.
So, June, how did you meet Daws first?
Daws and Stan and I were put under contract to Capitol Records. I didn't know Daws at the time. I had known Stan because we had worked together on Speaking of Animals. And I didn't know it was animation until the creature looked at it. Was a live action.
Right, yeah, but the animals would talk.
Yeah, but then the animals would say, so why does the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? You know,
the mouth would be animated, yeah.
But I had met Stan there, but I didn't meet Daws. And I met Daws when we were put under contract to Capitol Records doing all of the Disney and Warner shorts and features, because at that time, neither Disney or Warner had record companies. So we did all of them. And then Stan and Daws, Alan Livingston was the A&R man then. And Stan and Daws talked him into doing a comedy record, St. George and the Dragonette, and Little Blue Riding Hood.
Was the first comedy record to sell over 1 million copies.
We recorded it on Melrose Avenue where KHJ is. Mm-hmm. And the live orchestra was there as well. And Stan and Daws...
Wasn't it also the original Dragnet Frank Comstock orchestra for it?
Yes.
He was the original orchestra for it.
Jack Webb so approved of it, he thought it was
Jack
funny.
Webb
He said,
agreed
use
to
my
do
band.
it. Yeah, he agreed to do it. And so that's when I met Daws, and Daws and Stan said, why don't you do something new? We've heard all of it. So then I came up with a Brooklyn accent. And so they said, oh, that's great. So it was the dragon who almost devoured me. He bit me already, you know. But then on Little Blue Riding Hood, I was Blue Riding Hood and Granny. But in St. George and the Dragonette, every time I hear, listen to the news and they say it is now 4:05 p.m., it's 4:12, and then when they say it's 4:12, I remember Daws, because he was the dragon. And so he's being confronted, and Stan says, I'm going to get you on a 4:12. And Daws says, 4:12? What's a 4:12? Overacting, let's go. But Daws never overacted.
No. We're going to talk a little bit about Daws' acting style and how he passed it on to his students, one of which was Nancy. And how did you meet Daws?
I was a kid. I was in high school, and I competed on the speech team. This is in Kettering, Ohio, just south of Dayton. And I realized that I would get critiques from the judges saying, you know, you have an unusual voice, you should do cartoons. But being Dayton, Ohio, they don't exactly do animation there. And they didn't have the internet either, or answering machines. But I worked at a radio station. That was my first job. And my boss introduced me to a woman from Warner Brothers who represented their music department. Of course, that, to me, Warner Brothers meant Mel Blanc. I thought, oh my God, I could meet Mel Blanc. That would be so cool. Maybe I could write to him. Maybe he could be a friend, you know. But I shook her hand, and she gave me her card, and she said, if you write to me, I can get your letter to the right person. Well, she kept her word. I wrote her a letter and told her what I wanted, that I wanted to do cartoons, and she passed it on to the right person, and next thing I know, I got a letter from her, and at the bottom of the letter was a P.S. Give this guy a call. His name's Daws Butler. He's the voice of Roadrunner. I'm like, what? I'm Roadrunner? He doesn't even talk. Beep, beep. But there was his phone number. And so I called him, and then on the other end of the line, I was in my basement. I didn't want to do this in front of my family. I go down to the basement very privately, and I'm listening to this thing again. This is Dayton, Ohio, in the late 70s. We have no answering machines. But I hear, you're going to remember this, Charles. Yes, this is Percival Pickles. I am Mr. Butler's butler. Mr. Butler's not here right now, so you're going to have to leave your name and a message. Wait for the beep. Beep. I'm going, oh my God, what is this all about? Hello, Mr. Butler, this is Nancy Cartwright, and I'm from Dayton, Ohio. And I proceeded to tell him who I was and what I wanted, and, give me a ring on the telly. Here's my phone number, area code 513-434-7009. Pip, pip, cheerio. And he called me back. He called me back that night. I'll get it, it's for me. Hollywood calling, will you accept the charge? I'm like, oh my God. It's him. And that was it. That phone conversation started a long distance, student-mentor relationship that continued. And it just, he wanted to know what my dreams were and what I wanted. And I said, well, I just like to do cartoon voices. And he said, well, let me send you some things. So he put a little tape in the mail on how to mark your copy, along with it was a publication that had come out that was written on him, an interview that was done on him, and a script. And he said to me in the letter, put this down and write it and send it back to me. And that was our relationship. I would record my voice on cassette and mail it to him, and he'd listen to it, and he'd take another cassette and critique me right on the cassette and mail that back to me. It was like, I might as well have just lived down the street. But this carried on, and very shortly, though, within a month, I realized I got to get there. Somehow, I just got to move, and so that was my dream. And you can find out more about that later.
Yeah, and also Nancy has her own autobiography, which you can read more about that as well, if you haven't already. The way I met Daws was similar to Nancy's situation. My father bought me a tape recorder when I was 12, and instead of recording music off the radio, I started making up funny voices, and I came up with these characters of Willoughby and the Professor pretty quickly as a 12-year-old, and I started ad-libbing these stories, full stories with sound effects and music from 78 records, and they had full arc, storyline to them with beginning, middle, and end. And I started drawing pictures of them, always Hanna-Barbera-esque with the ring around the mouth, and when I was 15, I wrote a letter to Daws Butler, and I didn't have an address. I wrote Daws Butler, Hanna-Barbera Productions, Hollywood, California, and somehow it got there, and it got to his agent, Miles, and Miles forwarded it to him, and he wrote me a letter back. In the letter I wrote to him, I just said I wanted to do cartoon voices, and he wrote me back and said, forget it. It's too difficult. There's no work out here. The industry is sort of moribund, and most talented artists aren't working. Stay in New Jersey and open up a sign painting shop. And he signed it. Sorry to be so discouraging. To be anything else would be cruel. And so I wrote him back and I said, yeah, I know all that, but this is what I want to do. And so he wrote back and said, you bounced back well. Usually nobody responds to my discouraging letters. Okay, let's see what you got. And I sent him an audio cassette of 120 minutes of Willoughby and the Professor stories, and waited patiently. Actually, I bugged the hell out of him for about 3 months, sending him a letter once a week saying, did you listen yet? Did you listen? And he would send back these little postcards with his caricature on it, and they would say things like, I'm still listening, but piecemeal, listening piecemeal. One card said, you show me no mercy. And finally, one day, about 4 months into it, I got a cassette in the mail from Daws Butler. I put it in, and it was a half an hour of Daws ad-libbing for an entire half hour, and it actually runs out in mid-sentence of him demonstrating his characters, explaining the art of voice acting and how it's real acting, and just everything that you could possibly want to know about voice acting is on that tape, and I still listen to it to this day. I became one of his students, and I used to go out in the summer and stay with his family. They were very kind to me, Murtis Butler and Daws, and I would go on recording sessions. I would sit between Mel Blanc and Howard Morris, and while they were doing the Jetsons, Howard was quite a cut-up and wouldn't let anyone record. He was like pulling practical jokes on people. So that was it. And then I went into radio and been in radio ever since. And here we are now.
Far out.
So I'd like to thank the Butler family, because without the Butler family, we would not have this book. Murtis, who gave permission to do this book. A man named Ben Omart, who could not be here tonight. It's his publishing company who had the idea to do it in the first place and came to me with the idea. And Chaz Butler, one of Dawes' sons, is the person who sat down and made copies of all of the scripts, went through all the files and pulled out scripts and sent them to Ben and myself for us to choose them. So I just wanted to thank them again for that. So now we want to play a little rare clip of Dawes. This is something that you might actually recognize, but it's not a recording you've ever heard before.
Hey! Don't let this picnic basket fool you. I am not Little Red Riding Hood. On my way to Granny's house. I am Yogi Bear, the barefoot bear with cheek. And this is my hobby, collecting picnic baskets filled with yummy eating type goodies from the tourists in Jellystone Park. Of course, every year the park rangers put up signs, "Do not feed the bears, do not feed the bears." But what tourists ever reads the signs? Especially when I have them hidden in my cave. Yeah, yeah. We got a nice lot of visitors to Jellystone every season. Like last week, a bus pulled in from Hollywood, loaded with TV and movie stars, and hey, what a picnic they had. They were all friendly type people and generous, like show folks always are. Hey, one little fella with big eyes, his name was Peter. He said,
"Hello, Yogi Bear. I've seen you on TV, on the Kellogg Show with Huckleberry Hound. Oh, I wish I had eaten Kellogg's cornflakes when I was a kid, because as you see, I didn't grow very big."
Then another fella with a big nose named Jimmy. He said, "Hey, Yogi Bear, got somebody to bring some newspapers in the fireplace. This fresh air is killing me. It's a catastrophic stroke." Then a fat-talking army sergeant named Ernie, he come up to me and he said, "Hey, on the double, ho-hi, hee-hee, hi.
Excuse me, sir. I take the liberty of addressing you without a proper introduction, because judging from your overall furry complexion or your furry overalls, whichever the case may be, I take it you're Yogi Bear. Am I correct? You're not modeling rugs, are you? Oh, this great outdoors, it's so healthy. Yeesh.
Then another fella, his name was Ed something. If I had $1 for every time he smiled, I'd be in a poorhouse. He said,
"Well, Yogi Bear, I've enjoyed you so much on that really great show, Huckleberry Hound. I know that as an actor, you work very hard. And I've heard it said that of course, the picnic, the ants are, now you know, whenever it's what the heck am I talking about?"
They were a great bunch, and they sure had a great picnic. The Kellogg's cornflakes all disappeared, and that's what I'm gonna do, disappear. I got a date to hibernate. Watch for me on your TV when I go on a Kellogg show. Hey, yay!
Of course, I played that just so that we could get some, famous character in there before we move on to less famous but equally fascinating sounds. And of course, Dawes wrote that, and I'm not sure why. I don't know what it was for, but Dawes often wrote things for no reason other than the fact that he was just so prolific. It was poured out of him, and recorded them at home just sometimes for himself. So this could have been one of those. But it's from 1959. Now, let's get back a little bit to the workshop and some of the things that Dawes taught. I'm curious, how many workshop students do we have here? Raise your hand.
Wow.
That's
cool.
Great. We are going to open it up, yes. A lot of Daws' students are successfully working somewhere in the industry in some part of it. Another person who has been very successful, I'd like to mention, is Greg Burson. I don't know if he's here, but Greg does many of the voices, and actually when Daws passed away and they were doing new Yogi Bear cartoons, it was Greg who became the voice of Yogi Bear, and it's pretty scary. He sounds just like him. It's amazing. So I just wanted to go through the panel quickly and just give sort of one thing that you might have learned from Daws Butler. Even June, who wasn't a student of Daws, I'm sure you must have something that you learned.
Well, I can't say. Well, we taught each other actually.
Yeah,
we
I would
played
say so.
Against each other. We had done a record for. Oh my goodness, am I over?
I think her mic is a little too loud. Yeah.
We had done a record for Capitol about the honeymooners. It was a takeoff on
right, the honey
Stan and Daws.
The honey earthers.
And he played the
Art Carney voice.
Art Carney voice. But then we were called in to do the Honey Mousers, a short at Warner Brothers,
right.
And Daws did both. He did Ralph Cramden and the Art Carney voice.
Right.
And of course, I was Alice. I was surprised that they hadn't called Stan, but boy, Daws did both those voices, and he was fantastic. And you know what? He was so brave when he had a stroke. He was almost dyslexic and couldn't read.
Yeah.
When we did the Captain Crunch commercials, he played, of course, Captain Crunch, and Bill Scott was Sea Dog, and I was Brunhild. We would go to the studio, and Daws, who was incredible, the courage this man had. Bill Scott would read his lines, and Daws would copy them only in his intonation and acting. Right. And he was remarkable in that. It's unbelievable. But I felt so bad. I was in London making appearances, and I was reading the International Herald Tribune, and I read about Dawes' passing away. It was in the International Herald Tribune, and I felt so bad that I couldn't be there to wish him goodbye. Mm-hmm. But we had such a wonderful feeling for each other, and Daws was the kind of a person who never said a bad word about anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
He loved everybody. He was helpful. Mm-hmm. His hands were always out ready to give.
That's one thing we all learned from Daws. Yeah. So how about you, Corey?
Well, probably the quickest thing I could say would be they're not voices, they're characters. You might only do 5 different vocal sounds, but that can be thousands of characters. Mm-hmm. The character is what matters. You don't even have to change your voice, the vocal quality.
Right.
But by letting a different character inhabit your voice, you create distinct personalities that can be as memorable and as real as the real people you know.
Nancy.
It's kind of along that line of what I learned from him. I think Daws did not teach me how to do voices. He was, I think above all, Daws had the most respect for the writer. And it was all in the writing. And he taught me to take the words that were presented to me, and through the way that they were written and the way that I interpreted them, I would communicate this message. So it was how to make that written word my own. So to support what you got from him too, Corey, is that was the main thing with Daws, it was the communication, the skill of communication from the artist to the recipient of whatever that message was. There's just one thing here I brought a couple of letters, and I won't read them all. I just wanted to be selective about this one that he wrote me. And he says in here, I had lunch with one of the Johnny Carson show writers with the idea of perhaps going on that show. I know that Carson digs the type of stuff I do. It's just that it's impossible to get to him personally. You have to go through channels, and what they would want, if anything, would be the voice of Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, old hat stuff. I want to go on with my philosophy of not merely acting, but relating. I want to show how to get the words off the page. Ego or not, I feel that I could be entertaining doing Margery Dickerson and such, acting out both parts, a sort of tour de force. This was the thing that meant the most to him, is what his philosophy was as a writer to communicate that.
Great. Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah.
I, of course, learned these same things, and another thing that Daws was really big on is that it's not just the voice, it's the body. It's you're using your entire body, your facial structure. Many of the characters that Daws came up with started with the facial structure, and he started out as a visual impressionist. Some of the pictures you saw here of him doing, Jimmy Durante and the different characters, he could look like them, and he found that if he could look like the person, he could sound like them. And that you could do two characters talking to each other, like as in Margery Dickerson, or if it's two British characters, and one character could be very old, and he could sound like this, and the other man could have his chin jutting out, and very different sounds to those two voices, and they could talk to each other. It's not really that you're changing your voice, but you're as
emulating that character.
You're becoming that character, and you're worrying about what age they are, and how tall they are, and what their body structure is, and where the voice comes out, if it comes out in your head or your throat or your chest, and all of these things. The placement of the voice. Which I guess brings me to Margery Dickerson. It's good that you mentioned that. When I was a kid, he first sent that to me, I think it was the first script he ever sent me.
Me too.
And in a high school assembly, I got up and I performed it, had it memorized doing both characters, and the drama coach was out in the lobby and he thought there were two people on stage until he came in and saw that it was, me doing both characters. So tonight, Corey Burton and I are going to read that for you. I consider this Dawes' masterpiece.
It's brief, and sweet, and a little bit of a non sequitur. Margery Dickerson fell down one day and never got up.
Never got up?
Never got up.
You mean to say that she just fell down and she never got up?
Never got up.
Why?
She just plain didn't want to.
She just lie there?
She did.
On the ground? Or on the floor?
On the ground.
Oh, the poor soul.
Well, at first, they swept around her. Sometimes they would lift up her skirt and sweep the dirt under it. She never got up. They built a house around her, jacked a bed under her, and there she stayed. She never got up.
She was a peculiar person.
Why'd you say that?
I mean, falling down and not getting up. Did she hurt herself then?
She never said.
Was she ever asked?
Aye.
And what did she say?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why did she say nothing?
Because she was asleep. And when she woke up, she grew taciturn, never surly, always cooperative was Margery Dickerson. But not word one would she utter. She wrote down all her requests in a fine Spencerian hand. They're all bound now and kept in the museum by the main road's turn, and you could go see 'em if you like.
So they built a house around her.
Not really a house. Well, it was a wee house, only one room. There was only her, you see.
But how did she live? I mean, who took care of her?
The townspeople. They drew lots every day. The loser would look after Margery Dickerson's needs.
On that particular day?
On that particular day, she would be fed what she desired.
And what was that? It was always the same. Barley cereal with great chunks of fat, slightly browned in the skillet, and a wee drop to wash it down. That was her way of life, then. It was, indeed. It is a strange tale. She was a strange woman, was Margery Dickerson. I wish I had known her. Yeah, I would have been able to talk some sense into her. I would have made her get up and become part of the world again. Others tried. They failed. Why? She just plain didn't want to get up. It was as simple as that. She lived in that wee house until the day she died. Oh, it was a tragedy pure. Never in my certain knowledge has there ever been the wonder like of it. Margery Dickerson lived there until the day she died? She did. Oh, how old was the poor woman when she died? 92. 92? The saints be praised, 92. Well, she was old. Oh, the poor lost creature. How old was she when she fell down? 92. 92? Well, she died 3 weeks later. 3 weeks? But you made it sound as if she spent her whole great long life there, lying in a bed in a one-room house. What do you call this rambling argosy of words that is now pointless and inane? I call it conversation.
So now we thought we'd open it up quickly to a couple of brief questions. If anybody wants to get up to the microphone and ask something or make a comment, or any of the students would like to say something about Daws.
And there's more to come.
It's your chance to do that. If you don't have any, we'll just move on. Anybody? I guess we're just doing a good... Yes. Is there anybody out there? No? We must be just really fascinating.
Come on.
Oh, good, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Pope. Original workshop
another of Dawes' students, Tony Pope.
Yes, I attended Dawes' workshop along with Corey back in 74, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to state that Margery Dickerson was his original, but he changed that to Shirley Silverman.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, Sylvia Silverman, yeah.
To a whole different
It was,
style.
Yeah, that was right. It was, Sylvia Silverman fell down one day and never got up.
And there were a whole series of dialects, I know, that we sort of played around with this piece.
Yeah, he would have you do it in different dialects and try it out. That's right, yeah.
That was an exercise.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to me, the thing that stuck with Dawes was never be afraid to be lousy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Always take chances.
He frequently were.
If it doesn't work the first time, exactly. But that was
so. I'm sure he was very proud of us for that.
Yes.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. That's a very good point. I remember a story that Daws did on his very first cassette that he gave to me, which was a Jewish dialect piece, and it was sort of a Myron Cohen thing. I think he wrote it, though. I think Daws wrote this, and it was an old grandmother walking her grandson on Santa Monica Beach, and she's walking him along. She loves this little grandson, and all of a sudden this huge wave comes in, and it picks up the boy and takes him out to sea. And she looks up at God and she says, "Oh, mein God, please bring back mein grandson. Please, I do anything for you. Bring back mein grandson. My husband is a rabbi. He works in the temple every day. I pray in the temple every day. Please, dear God, please, I do anything. Take me, but don't take mein grandson." And the big wave comes back and deposits the boy right there in front of her. And she picks the boy up in her arms and holds him tight. And she looks up at God and she says, "He had a hat." Well, Daws was a big fan of Myron Cohen and did a lot of these Jewish dialect pieces like Sylvia Silverman. We're gonna do one for you right now. Yes. After this question, we're gonna do another piece.
I've always been fascinated
Say
to
your
know...
name for everyone. Say your name for everyone.
Margaret Carey, Tinkerbell, or whatever you want.
Tinkerbell.
But I've always been fascinated with his first name, Daws. It's such an unusual name.
Well, it's short for Dawson, and it was actually his middle name. He was Charles Dawson Butler.
Oh, is that where we get Chaz?
That's where Charles Butler is his namesake, yes. Question.
When we did the Rocket Bullwinkle show and the Fractured Fairy Tales, he would always be the prince or the king.
Right.
And every time he'd try to change the character that he did, whether it was the Prince of Albania or whatever it was, he would do a different voice, and Jay would always say, be the gay prince.
That's right.
And that's what he was. It was very funny,
right,
Murtis wanted to say something.
Yes, Murtis, did you want to say something? Paul Dawson Butler, there you go. And David's here, David and Don. All of Dawes' sons are here. Yes.
I'm curious as to who his favorite character that he voiced was and why.
Oh, I thought you were going to say who his favorite son was. Part of Family Feud. I don't know. Does anybody know an answer to that? I think they were all his favorite. He loved them all.
He particularly loved the Charles Butterworth, the Captain Crunch voice.
Yeah, Captain Crunch based on Charlie Butterworth.
Really adored that.
Well, Murtis knows, of course.
Absolutely.
Now, wasn't Huckleberry Hound? Now, I know the story behind this. He told me this. Huckleberry Hound, he was dating you at the time. And he'd come to your doorstep, and wasn't it your neighbor?
The next door neighbor.
Huckleberry Howard.
Great.
Yeah.
Chaz.
That is something. Some of the characters that he did, like Huckleberry Hound, he had been doing them many, many years before they ever made cartoons out of them. Yeah.
Daws would always have a little piece of paper like this, and if he had been called upon to do a certain voice, he'd go through a whole list. What kind of a voice would I do for this?
Right.
He would have a list. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
Earl Kress.
Earl Kress.
Hi, Earl.
Another one of Dawes' students. Why don't you go up to the mic, Earl? Yeah.
Wonderful writer.
Earl is a very fine writer of animation.
Yes.
I just wanted to point out another of Dawes' acting techniques, which Corey and Joe just did, and it's one of his comedy principles, which was fast against slow, or slow against fast.
Yeah.
And that is, you deliver one line fast, and then the next person delivers the next line slow.
Yeah.
And it would always be funny that way.
Right. Putting frames around things, and the loud against soft too. These contrasts and the beats and the pauses.
Right, taking the pause.
Taking the pause. Yeah.
Right.
How to mark your copy. He called it orchestrating your copy with squiggles and lines, and so that you
it's a lot like jazz, I think.
Yeah.
And Corey gets into this.
Music.
Corey gets into it in the book, but it is a lot like jazz. I mean, he's writing a composition for you as a jazz musician, using your voice the way a jazz musician would use the instrument to interpret. Lucille Bliss.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such a wonderful, moving experience being here. Daws and I were very close. When I came down from San Francisco as a young girl after having done the first national animated cartoon, Crusader Rabbit, I met Daws Butler. And he said to me, "You have such talent. I want you to meet my agent, Miles Hour. He doesn't take any woman, but he'll take you." And he did. And Daws and I drove around to different ones. We worked for Mike Lahr, who was the brother-in-law of Bill Hanna of Hanna-Barbera. We worked for Fritz Frayling. We did Warner Brothers' famous short, A Waggly Tail, which was based on the song Doggy in the Window. I did 6 voices, and he did 6 voices. Then we did Droopy and the Leprechaun, sharing voices. Then after that, we did Hanna-Barbera's famous series, the Space Cadets. I had to have a lisp in that, and I was terrified because I prided myself on my diction. And I thought, now I have to say, "Hey, Captain Skyhook, Captain Skyhook, where's the dog? Do we have to go on the boat alone? And he was Captain Skyhook.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun. And then after that, Bill Hanna didn't know that Jay Ward had made a mistake and sold Crusader Rabbit by mistake to Charles Bonsall of Metro Media. It happened that Jay had it all in a package. He laid it on his desk, and as he was going out, Charles said, "Thanks for Crusader Rabbit." He said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, it's on my desk." "Oh, no. Jay said, "That's ours. You can't have that." "Oh." He says, "It's on Metro Media's desk. It belongs to Metro Media." And that's why Daws created Rocky and Bullwinkle and did such a wonderful job with that, because
Jay Ward,
he felt so bad. But what I wanted to tell you is very few people know this. Bill Hanna, thinking that it was up for grabs, and called Daws and called me and said, I want to do Crusader Rabbit. Lucille, do your original role of Crusader. Daws, you be Rags the Tiger, which is like Moose. And so he said, and we did 11 in color, and it was wonderful. And then he found out that Metro Media, lock and key, and made it so tough that Bill Hanna said, what can I do? We're a new company. We're starting on the ground. What can I do?
And it never got...
So he had to destroy them, and Bill never wanted to talk to it again.
Wow. That's a shame.
It was.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I remember, I used to go to Daws' workshop and help him, and we worked a lot. And when he had a stroke, he called me and he said, would you come down so that I could read the script with you? I'm getting my voice back, but with the students, I don't want to do it just yet. So I went down, and then I kept dropping in. He was such a genius, such a wonderful, warm, great artist.
Thank you.
Oh, that's only the truth.
Thanks, Lucille. Thank you.
Thank you. There's just one quick more thing I wanted to say. His favorite show was, I don't know if any of you ever remember back radio. I used to love it as a kid. Vic and Sage.
Vic and Sage, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Rush, the character who played Rush Cook, I can't think of his name. Billy Idelson. That's right. He came that night. I was there, and he said, Daws. And Daws said, oh, my God, I'm so pleased to see you. He said, I wrote a script just for you and me. Oh, Daws said, well, as soon as I get to the end of the class. But, he said, I have my daughter here and my son. They both are actors, and I want them to study with you because you are the greatest. Mm-hmm. And Daws was so emotionally overwhelmed, I'm getting emotional, and that he was really so upset that he said, yes, we'll do it. And then as the evening wore on and he did the class, he said, to Billy Idelson, could you bring the script back? I feel kind of tired. And I remember I rushed to the phone and I called Murtis and I said, I think you better come down. And Daws went upstairs and he said, we'll do it. And then what happened, he didn't rest. I was hoping, I said, oh God, don't teach for a month at least. But he was so dedicated to his students. He gave so much of himself. Mm-hmm. That he did, and I was out of town at the time, and shortly after that, he passed away.
Yeah.
But he'll always live in anyone who loves acting and has a passion for acting.
Well, that's why we're here tonight, trying to keep that alive, yeah.
Yes, and you are all doing such a great job at keeping him alive.
The fact that we have the sound of him.
Yes, the sound of Daws will go on forever. Come on, let's clap. For Daws Butler.
Thank you, Lucille. Thank you. So let's move on to a script now. This is another piece that is in the book. We're going to have June and Nancy do it. I won't tell you anything about it. It sort of speaks for itself.
Okay. So, it went all day yesterday. I figured it wouldn't bother today. There'd be nothing left. Nice things?
Oh, very nice. The good things went first. The plum, Saul Levinson got it for his wife, was a banjo clock. Listen to this. Her nephew, she's outlived by 10 years, gave it to her years ago. He lived in her house, and when he was in the university, she didn't charge him nothing. When he finished, when he made $1, he got her this clock. She didn't know it was a clock. Oh, the box. It was still in the box. And it said banjo. Like that. Just banjo.
So?
So? She thought it was a banjo. She didn't even open it. Like she said yesterday when Saul bought it. What do I know from playing the banjo? By me, my musical talent is winding the Victrola. The Victrola. Yeah, she still had it there. It went for $37.59. 8 dummies asked her if it was stereo.
So what about the clock?
So like the banjo clock sold to Sal for $280. Yeah, the old lady finally realized, now that it came out of the box and she saw it, that's what she had there for her clientele, was a brand new antique. From another day, even.
$280? That's a lot of money. Maybe Saul could take it someplace and get even more for it. How could she go so many years and not be curious to look inside?
Oh, I asked her. She said, what for? I saw a banjo once at a minstrel show. A banjo is a banjo. So I put it in the garage.
It runs all right.
A little oil. He'll have to put it out at the jewelry store. It should be perfect.
And this clock, he'll be given to Reba.
At $280, who knows? Maybe he'll take it to an appraiser and they'll split the money.
He bought the clock for her. Now they're going to split the money. Why shouldn't he just give her the clock and she should do with it what she wants to do with it? Maybe keep it.
Because it would break his heart. For that much money, it should time an egg.
They'll work it out. That must have been the biggest sale of the day.
Oh, just about. Everything went. All day long, people kept coming in. The old lady had nice things. What she was selling was some of it, from her trousseau, yes. Oh, she never threw anything away.
How old is Minna?
She's 96, 103, I don't know. She just comes off old.
She was out there all day yesterday.
Yeah, she ran it. The whole thing she ran. She runs her adding machine like a checker from Ralph's.
So she's cleaned out.
With the customers she had, a dose of salts could do better. It wouldn't be long. In a little bit, everything will be gone.
You bought something? You was around all day. You must have bought something.
Oh, I bought something. I think maybe I got the best.
What?
A book.
A book could be the best?
It's really not a book. But maybe it could be a book.
It's an imitation of a book.
It's a notebook she kept. God knows for how long. In it she wrote down all these things like sayings.
Sayings?
Yeah. What she wrote maybe could be wisdom.
When did she have time to think about wisdom? Family, she had 8 kids, and Chaim, the nephew with the banjo. Clock. So when would she have time to sit around jotting down wisdoms?
All I know is she did. I got this notebook. Cost me 85 cents. I had my eye on it in the morning when I first got there. But the price was $2.98. A lot of money for an old notebook.
Even with wisdom?
Anyway, a few minutes before she closed up last night, she marked it down to 85 cents. So I gave her $1 and told her I'd just take a fake lace handkerchief for change.
And
she waved her hand. So I brought the book home. All evening I looked at what she had wrote in the book.
You got the book now?
It's in my pocket.
It's not a big book.
Have I got a big pocket?
So read already.
Well, you gotta listen very close. The lines aren't very long, but I think in them there is a thought.
So read already.
After I read, ponder a little bit. Oh, here's one. A worm with an M-A is still a worm.
A statement. Merely a statement.
What I'm getting at, it makes you think.
It makes me think it's a statement. What else you got?
A positivist.
What?
A positivist. A positive person.
So why didn't the old lady write a positive person?
Because in this kind of book you say things nicer. You have to make one word do what two could do.
What's the big deal? There's paper there on the back she didn't even fill in.
Open the ears, shut already the mouth. You should learn something. Another one. A positivist.
Positive person.
Doesn't curse those who deny him sweet butter. He puts on yellow sunglasses and eats Crisco.
Now, for a resale, I think you'll make more on the 15-cent fake lace handkerchief.
A spinach souffle would never fail if you don't drop it.
That gave me a tingle. Maybe there's something there.
Grass seed doesn't guarantee a lawn, but the birds could care less. Those were a taste. Now comes deep.
Oh, so tell me deep.
Tap dancing in mud is unfulfilling.
You bought this book? You think Minna Goldberg is a thinker?
What should it cost? I should have had it printed by Mimey, my cousin the printer.
What printer? He works by Pip.
Well, it's typed up nice. A good black setting on a Xerox machine would make it look nice.
Would it make it mean something nice?
You're negative. You're jealous you didn't find the notebook of Minna Goldberg.
I'm jealous I wasn't there yesterday. I could have got that banjo clock cheaper. Saul Levinson is a pushover.
So why cheaper? The old lady needs the money. That's why she had the sale, the garage sale. You begrudge survival?
Business is business. What else kind of bright sayings in that book?
Did I read you Tap Dancing in Mud?
Yeah, you just read that.
Maybe one more. I'll read it to you. Your attitude makes me lose my enthusiasm. Your bed has got two wrong sides.
Read.
Still capable of flight is a moth shackled by steel chains, but it is imperceptible.
Oh. That one I'll think about. Well, I can't stand here. The brisket needs turning. I'll throw in now a couple potatoes, a carrot.
You want to hear one more?
A short one.
Short, long. With wisdom it all hangs out, even if it's little.
She write that?
I wrote that. I didn't write it, I said it.
It's not bad. One more, then I gotta go.
If gravy is spilled in your lap, don't call attention to it. Just use sweet butter instead.
Ooh, twice she mentioned butter.
It's the soul of a proverb. A Jewish proverb.
So tell me.
One thin Jew, one sweet butter, one fat Jew.
One sweet Jew, one sweet butter equals one fat... That makes sense.
However, one thin unhappy Jew and sweet butter equals one fat unhappy Jew.
So what does that mean?
It means thin or fat, happy or unhappy, you can't blame the butter. It's a friend without a forwarding address. But should you meet by accident, you rejoice until the last dribble is off your chin.
A hell of a proverb.
And with butter, matzahs don't taste so much like siding.
Get your book published. Good luck. Hey, what's with that truck over by Minna Goldberg's garage?
Oh, it's the men. They're tearing down the garage so she can sell already the lumber and scraps up a few more dollars.
Boy, this neighborhood. Only here you would see such a complete garage sale.
That was just marvelous. That was just amazing.
The other thing that I love so much about being in his workshop, we gather on I think it was Thursday nights.
Right.
Was it Tuesday night? Thursday nights.
Thursdays.
And
usually,
he'd have his little treasure. He had a little treasure box in the middle of the table, and it had a little sign on it. It said $10 if you can, but if you can't, don't worry about it. He never really put much attention on an exchange, getting paid for his service. We were there from 7 at night until we'd go till 10 or 11, and didn't ask for anything. He was so generous of his time. And the other great thing was that we could read. We would do it a couple of times, several times, the same script, and mixing up the parts.
And you can hear in these scripts how you can explore them. You can read them over and over and get a different layer and a different color every time out of every line.
Mm-hmm. And no matter what age, or he would have men reading women's parts, and it was such a great an ensemble, and a different one every week too.
Which brings me to the next clip, because in the workshop, and even when he would do tapes for his students and describe things, the way the workshop ran was that he would hand out a script to everyone, and everyone would get a chance to read eventually. But he'd go through, and a few people would read, and then he might pick up the script himself and say, okay, I'm going to show you how I might do it. So now the master's going to do it, of course. And he would run through it straight through and do a particular interpretation, and then he would go back and do it again, but stop and explain to you what his thought processes were and why he chose those particular line readings. And then, of course, give it back to us again and ask us to do it again. And he was always extremely positive. He never was negative in his critiquing. He always went from, well, that was good, and he would point out things that you did right, but then he would say, do a little more of it here, and he would encourage you. And so we have a clip that I'd like to play we have now a CD version of it that we have it available tonight if you'd like to get one, called Daws Butler Teaches You How to Do Dialects. And he'd done this on cassette, and he had a little booklet that he would sell with the cassette, and that is a chapter in the book called How to Do Dialects. This is just one little clip where he's just talking about doing a British dialect, but he's already given the sort of the dialect part of it, and now he's doing exactly what he would do in the workshop, which is he would talk about that you could do it different ways, the same lines, and it could mean something totally different.
Everything I've said, the clumsy jumble of words, is of no importance whatever. Now notice the rhythms in that. Everything I've said, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Everything I've said, the clumsy jumble of words, equal emphasis. The clumsy jumble of words, spread the vowel on words. Everything I've said, the clumsy jumble of words, is of no importance whatever. Sort of a throwaway. Pick up the tempo on that. So the cadence and the rhythm of it is, everything I've said, the clumsy jumble of words, is of no importance whatever. I spoke the words. This is a way that you keep a linear pattern in your reading without stopping and starting, which gets pretty dull after a while. Try to keep the continuity line as much as possible, and the English do it all the time with inflections and change of pace. So I'm holding the vowel on whatever, and even the R, so that I go right into I spoke the words. Is of no importance whatever. I spoke the words. But they had no meaning. I'm an empty-headed person. I've tried to appear otherwise, and with some success. There are those who think me learned. And do you know why? No one really listens. But it's all based on little rhythms. It's not just the way you say the word. I spoke, instead of I spoke. I spoke the words. But they had no meaning. A little bit of dynamic attack on meaning. But they had no meaning. I am an empty-headed person. Person, not person. Person. Right in the lips, right in those nerve endings. I'm an empty-headed person. Many options on how you do it, and they're all valid. The thing that's interesting about dialects or any characterization is that articulation, stress, equal emphasis, juxtaposed in any order seems to work as long as you believe and feel the characterization and the meaning and the gut level extension of it. So that I could say, I've tried to appear otherwise, and with some success. Then I could reverse it and say, I've tried to appear otherwise, and with some success. There are those who think me learned. Do you know why? No one really listens. There's a little annoyance there. Or the other could be acceptance, philosophically. No one really listens. No one really listens.
Of what we were talking about. You can hear some of the things that Earl Kress talked about, the fast against slow and the loud against soft, and that depending on which phrase you chose, it could mean something totally different. So I guess just for the sake of moving on, because we did start a little bit late, I'd like to have us move on to the next script, which is not in the book, so it's a little treat for you. We're hoping to do another book sometime in the future. Daws had these characters called Uncle, Dunkle, and Donnie. And he wrote, I don't know, maybe 20 different stories. And they are a sort of Aesop's Fable type stories, funny animal stories. They're a lot like Aesop and Sons, but with Dawes' own twist to them. We did these all the time in his workshop. The one that I chose was, I think, his best, which is Punky Possum's Mud Bath. We're hoping to eventually, at some point in the future, do a book of just Uncle Dunkle stories, which I think would be wonderful, and I think it's something Daws wanted as well. So this is Uncle Dunkle and Donnie, Punky Possum's Mud Bath.
Keep it brisk, Jay Ward style. Say, Donnie.
Yeah?
Did I hear your Aunt Rapunzel scolding you about something?
Uh-huh. I was out playing in the mud.
Well, why doesn't she watch you instead of standing on her head on the flagpole?
Oh, she was not.
Well, she was doing you something.
Well, anyway, I got mud all over my new pants.
Well, that's not so good, even with all the new ways of getting clothes clean nowadays.
Well, I just didn't think about it. I was playing and it was muddy and then I was muddy and...
Say, did I ever tell you about Punky Possum in the mud bath?
Never did. Not that one. Tell me about Punky Possum, Uncle Dunkle.
Well, way down south lives Punky Possum. Unlike most possums, Punky's pappy, for instance, who likes to sleep a lot, Punky loves to frolic around the forest and have a high old time for himself. Sometimes he even goes off on an adventure at a nearby farm, which is full of mud puddles. And his idea of fun is, well, listen.
This little possum liked the mud mightily, and I don't know the fun of puddle muddle. I'll take that again.
That was something he always messed that up. Everybody always messed that up.
I like it when you mess it up. You know,
right,
it's like I'm real.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, these are cold readings.
I scream when you pinch me. Ow! Okay, I'll do that again. This little possum liked the mud mightily, and you don't know the fun a puddle full of mud'll be. What's for the ducks, but it's not for me. This little possum likes to be muddy. Play in the mud from morning till night, and you should see me, I'm a sight. And so you know it's me, all right. Scrape the mud away. Oh, boy, look at all that little old mud. Puddles. This is just most enjoyable. It's like taking a bath, right and two. Instead of getting clean, I gets dirty.
Punky's mother was very concerned by her son's love of mud puddles. She kept a tidy house, like most mothers, and Punky disrupted everything. She said,
My Punky earned my trust when just all that little guy, and when he gets so dirty, there's a reason why. Like all the other boys, mud is just what he most enjoys. He's muddy as a big mud pie. I never really worried where my Punkies played, till he came in all covered with that mud one day. In tracking up the floors, he doubled all my chores. Punky shouldn't do me that way.
Mammy! Hey, Mammy, I'm home!
Well, if I didn't recognize your voice, I do declare I never knowed who was there. You get that mud off of you right now, you hear?
I haven't got much mud on me.
Punky, you're about the muddiest little old possum around here. Everybody's talking about you.
Well, you got to admit, Mammy, I ain't making a name for myself.
Punky didn't mean to do wrong, but he loved the mud so much and played in it so often that finally even his sleepy old pappy noticed it.
You're in trouble, boy. Little Punky and his clothes are caked with mud, but I suppose to him there's more where he got those. But duds aren't buds the oak tree grows. Little Punky, don't you see, has never paid a laundry fee. He just assumes they clean for free to prove they're downright neighborly. Hey, Punky, you hear me, son? You in big trouble, boy. You come on over here where I'm sleeping, where I'm resting.
Howdy, little old pappy. I hear you calling me?
Sure rightly was, 'cause you in trouble, boy. You come along, 'cause we got a little talking to do out back in the woodshed.
Man possum to man possum?
Oh, man possum to boy possum.
That's what I was feared of. Oh well. On the way back to the house, we can carry us some wood.
So Punky and his pappy went home to the woodshed, and in the olden days, the woodshed usually meant a spanking is what it meant. Pappy opened the door, and they went inside.
Well,
Well,
here we are inside little old woodshed, little old pappy.
now don't you go giving me any more of that little old pappy stuff, little old Punky.
Reason why I called you little pappy, is 'cause you're kind of little, old pappy.
Desist. I is not the subject of this confrontation. You is.
Let me just get one thing straight. You gonna confront me or spank me?
I am gonna confront you.
Oh, that is good news. You just didn't have the heart to spank me, now did you?
I got my heart. Yeah, but my hand has got small bones. Now you listen at me, Punky. You're in trouble, boy. This mud puddle playing has got to stop.
But I just love mud puddles. Can I just, taper off?
Nope.
I just wondered.
I'm gonna be fair with you, Punky. You go on back over by the mud puddles, and if you can find a good reason for a possum getting all muddied up like you does, I won't say nothing more about it. Oh, and Punky.
Yes, little pappy?
Talk with a pig about mud. See what he says.
So Punky went back over to the farm. There were the lovely mud puddles, and right in the middle of the biggest one was, well, there was a pig, is what it was.
Air conditioned I am not, when the sun is high and hot. So the mud's my favorite spot, keeps me cool all day. Though I lack insecticide, when the flies torment my hide, mud again is on my side, keeps the flies away. Those are, two good reasons for like a pig, liking mud. Pigs just don't like to be dirty. Mud's a heap of protection from the hot sun and insects.
Whoa. I never thought of it that way. Well, so long, Mr. Pig. You taught me a good lesson. It just comes down to this. Mud is for pigs, but not for possums.
Well said, well said.
And then Punky went back home. He found his pappy and mammy waiting for him. Dinner was hot on the table. But before he sat down, Punky said,
This little possum gave up mud, it is true, 'cause now I know the good a puddle full of mud'll do. Mud is for pigs. But not me, too. My mud puddling days are really through. Swinging the trees from morn till night, I'm so clean it's out of sight. I'm glad I finally saw the light. No more mud. No way.
Well said, Punky.
So again, you can see the interesting thing about any of Dawes' scripts is you can interpret them so many different ways. That pig, I heard that pig done as everything from Jimmy Durante to W.C. Fields to Pat Buttram, just about Charles Lawton, and anything in between. So
Edgar Buchanan.
Edgar Buchanan. He was Dawes who just wrote things that you just love doing, and I really think that he would have loved to have heard them read tonight and heard your laughter, because that's something that a lot of these scripts, we didn't get to do them in front of an audience, and he didn't get to do them in front of an audience. So that was part of why we did them for you tonight as well. Well, I thank everybody for coming. We have to pretty much end it now, and we will be signing books. Now, I have to say that Corey and I are the only ones that are signing the books, because I was the editor, and Ben Omars has already signed it. Corey wrote that excellent foreword for it. Nancy has kindly autographed bookmarks, which anybody who purchases a book will also get one of these bookmarks. So we just ask that if you have any other paraphernalia that's not about the book, that you don't ask anybody to sign it. I thank everybody for coming, and I thank Nancy, June, and Corey, and the Butler family, and all of you for being here, and all of Dawes' students. It was a marvelous evening, and I'm really happy to be here and that it really turned out.
And thank you, Joe. Thank you for doing this. Incredible. Yeah.
Supported by Bear Manor Media, publisher of the authorized biography of cartoon voice legend Daws Butler, characters actor.
Who else? Yogi Bear.
For more information, check out bearmanormedia.com.